Tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, depending on where you are located in the world right now, Digital Extremes will finally give us a glimpse of what will Abyss of Dagath update bring to the game. They promised Hydroid rework, companion rework, the new Warframe Dagath, and a lot more. By the way, I know there are a couple of the first Descendant players that recently subscribed here, and while waiting for the game, go try out Warframe right now. In my opinion, you will love it if you like what you saw from the first Descendant. It's free to play, and when I say free to play, it's free and don't sell you the same content you already purchased, like other looter shooter out there. There are lots of activities to do in the game, and I'm sure you'll love this as a pastime while waiting for the official release of the first Descendant. And of course I welcome you into my channel, and may you have a great stay here. The best part about Warframe is the developer is constantly updating the game, so there's always content to do, and probably next month we will witness the first content update after TennoCon 2023. But before we see that, I would like to have a little discussion. We all know that Digital Extremes are currently exploring new ventures right now and not just focusing on their household game Warframe. They have separated their original team to do the upcoming game called Soulframe, and also they have published the new game available now for early access called Wayfinder. If you look at it, Digital Extremes being acquired by Tencent Games through Leiyu is good after all for the developer, as they can fund new projects right now and do something other than Warframe. However, let me ask you this, do they need to go and try out other games? Or just focus on their crown jewel Warframe? If you ask me, doing Warframe for 10 years can also burn out a developer, and it's really hard to put new ideas into the game where you don't love to work with it anymore. Steve was the head of the crew for so many years, pouring ideas into the game, and while not saying it publicly, I know the developers are also tired sometimes of doing the same shit over and over again. I think having Space Mom as the new creative director was a good move for revitalizing Warframe with new ideas. Soulframe has potential, and you can see remnants of the game from Duviri Paradox in Warframe, a rouge-like game that allows you to increase your character's power by progressing through missions and defeating bosses. It was kind of tough during TennoCon 2023 as Soulframe took the stage, and honestly, based on the crowd reaction, it wasn't that interesting for them at all. It nearly took all the time during TennoCon Live for the developers to get into panic mode as they had lots to show about Warframe. I did not get the chance to go to the event, but based on what I saw at home while watching the event, it looks like the crowd was just waiting for the whole demo to end. Steve made a joke first that you should get ready for a snooze fest, and I think he jinxed the whole demo, and it felt like no one was cheering for more showcase about Soulframe. I also can't understand people saying that Soulframe is not an online Dark Souls game with easier monsters and it's a live service that is free to play. Some are furious when I describe Soulframe like this, and I don't know why they hate it when I say this, because honestly, this is what exactly I saw from the past and previous demos of the game. It plays out like Dark Souls, but it has way easier enemies compared to the brutal gameplay of the Dark Souls franchise. The upgrades were also stale, and people who are in the show seem not impressed that much when the character's sword turns into a throwable fire sword. There are even people saying that it's trying to be a free-to-play Elden Ring, which I think is also a great description for the game. The only difference, though, it doesn't give you the chill while watching Soulframe compared to Elden Ring. It's generic, in my opinion, based on all the trailers I saw so far, and just like what I have said, it felt like fans were just waiting for the demo to finally end, so they could witness the next Warframe content. TennoCon is an event where players meet up to talk Warframe and know what will be next for the game. This year was the return of the live event, as it was only digital when the pandemic struck. Supposedly, it was just all about Warframe, but the developer decided that they should sneak Soulframe in the event, only to be almost out of time because the demo took long and it almost took the precious hours for the Warframe showcase. I'm just glad that after Soulframe, we were treated with something new again and worth waiting for in Warframe. They have showcased Whispers of the Wall and Warframe 1999, and when Digital Extremes showed that we can go use a spellbook now to as weapons in Whispers of the Wars, the crowd goes bananas, and many Limbo mains can't hold on their excitement on what's to come in Warframe. Also, Warframe 1999 is a very interesting update, which is inspired by a Metal Gear Solid team. It's a very interesting update since it takes you back to the past of Warframe, and I just can't wait what else can we discover with the lore of the game. Also, many are glad that it's not another open world but an expansion within Deimos for Whispers of the Wall. As of now, Warframe 1999 has no further details if it will be an open world, but players are so glad that it's not tied into the Duviri paradox. The roguelike gameplay of Duviri Paradox was amazing for a few months, but it gets annoying as it feels like it's a completely different game you are playing inside Warframe. Despite many articles claiming that Warframes is nearing its end, and the Reaper is knocking on the door of this 10 years old game, the Warframe community still supports the game, and from what I see after TennoCon, Warframe players became more interested in knowing what the future holds for Warframe. Honestly, while I'm curious about Soulframe, I can't deny the fact that I don't care about this game now, and I'm still excited about what is coming to Warframe. This opinion is based as a Warframe player, and not a content creator, by the way, and I would be lying if I say that I like what I saw from Soulframe during their demo last TennoCon 2023. The things Digital Extremes showcased for Warframe was way better than the demo about Soulframe, in my opinion. Also, what everyone else thought to be the best thing after Warframe, named Wayfinder, is not having a great early access experience right now. It got mixed reviews in the game, and it was a bad early access launch because of the server issues. People paid for early access, but the problem is they can't access the game at all during launch, and would end up waiting for hours before they can play the game and get logged out again. Players are already making fun of the game, saying that it's ironic to call it Wayfinder when you can't even find a way to get into the game. There are other controversies circulating the Wayfinder community right now, like Discord modes, banning members who are putting up negative comments and feedback about the game. Also, players are saying that still having server issues with the game despite the fix they made after the early access launch failed. No matter how you defend Wayfinder right now, the numbers won't lie, and many players who bought the early access are not interested anymore in playing the game. Soon, it will finally get to free to play, and some are saying that the player count will increase and it will just be as successful as Warframe. They do have a point, but honestly, I can't seem to convince myself of playing Wayfinder since it's not my type of game. People have been saying that I should try it out and dig deep, but I just can't put myself into a thing I don't love. Don't get me wrong, I know some people enjoy the game, and none of my opinions matter. What I don't get is people saying that Warframe players can migrate into Wayfinder because it's a game from Digital Extremes. I would just like to remind you that Wayfinder and Warframe are different games, and Digital Extremes are only the publisher, which means they are not involved with the development of the game. Instead, they are more with the marketing side and how monetization works in the game. For you to say that all Warframe players will love Wayfinder is hilarious because it's a completely different genre, and many loved Warframe because of the looter-shooter style, wherein Wayfinder is something like a dungeon delver, an online action role-playing game. During its full release, I can see Wayfinder building their community, and not Warframe players migrating into the Wayfinder community. We can play it since it will be free to play, but saying that we'll love it is a totally different story, since Warframe is more of a looter-shooter, fast-paced action, and migrating into something slow is kind of weird. The same feeling can be felt with the Soulframe game. I think it will create a different community and not Warframe players just flooding the Soulframe community. As a Warframe player, I feel kind of uneasy playing a slow-paced game when I'm used to jumping and performing parkour moves while shooting enemies in their faces. This is also why I think many Warframe players have decided to get access to the first Descendant, since it's in the same genre, and mostly veterans in Warframe want something new to try. For Warframe players that have most items in the game and have thousands of hours playtime, the only thing you can enjoy in Warframe is helping new players or waiting for the next update to come. You will treat Warframe as a seasonal game, wherein if there's new content, then you can just load up the game instantly. This is why I think Nexon was clever enough to appear in the scene, as they have pulled some of the veteran players to play their game. The first Descendant felt the same as Warframe when it comes to the grind and farming. There are lots of resemblances, and the best part is, some of the Void Intercept missions offer challenge to players which some veteran players requested for so many years in Warframe. It offered the same thing, but different at the same time. What I mean by this is that you feel at home playing the first Descendant as a Warframe player, but you will also be interested in trying out the Destiny 2 boss fight challenges that the game has to offer. I think the first Descendant can be a good competition for Warframe, but as of now it's not better. It would take years before Nexon can cope with Warframe when it comes to content, and saying that the first Descendant is better than Warframe is just lying to your face. However, the fact now is that the first Descendant exists, and somehow Warframe has a new competitor in the looter-shooter genre that is actual free-to-play. Now, this is a good thing for us, since we can jump back and forth from Warframe and the First Descendant since they are both free to play. You can play Warframe during Saturdays and then try the First Descendant on Sundays. However, this kind of lifestyle is only applicable for players who have no life and have all the time in the world to play games. For people like us who have work, it would be hard to jump from one game to another as the grind would be super tedious. We all know how grindy Warframe is, and based on what I saw from the First Descendant, the grind is much worse since they don't have any pity system yet, like Warframe. The double lock for loot and the low RNG make it an extreme grind for players, and I know some Warframe players don't want to engage in more grind games anymore. If somehow the First Descendant will flourish, this means that you have to pick either this or Warframe as your main game, and competition means that digital extremes need to focus on bringing great content to Warframe so they won't end up losing their player base to the First Descendant. I don't mind jumping back and forth once in a while, but there will come a time when the other game will do better. So now let me ask you this. Do you think digital extremes should focus on Warframe from now on, or they should continue venturing to another game genre? It's now your turn to give your opinion regarding this topic. Remember, there are no right or wrong opinions here. All we are doing is talking and giving our thoughts about our favorite games. I'll be waiting for your replies in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the Abyss of Dagath update. Squad Leader signing off.